morning. It's Wednesday, November 12th. National Happy Hour Day. Well. Looks like this hour just got a whole lot happier. Or something more clever. And now, the news. Starting with the government shutdown. Welcome to day 43. After passing through the Senate on a 60-40 vote, a funding bill has made its way to the House, and after being closed since September 19th, the House has reopened and will apparently, perhaps, maybe, vote on the bill today. Here are two big things that I will be watching for today. Besides the big thing, which is, will this vote happen, and how will the votes fall? First, the first big thing that I'll be looking for is, will new wildcard Marjorie Taylor Greene, what a sentence, how will she vote on it? Remember, the Republicans don't have a ton of wiggle room here. They can only lose 2 votes on their side. They only have 2 wiggles to room. And Marjorie Taylor Greene has expressed, actually many thoughts lately, and they range from anger that the House has not been in business to belief that aliens are angels. We contain multitudes as humans. Among her many thoughts has been what appears to be a genuine anger that Speaker Johnson keeps talking about how he has a secret plan to give Americans health care once they ditch the ACA, but he has never been able to give any details on it. So, will she vote to reopen the government with a bill that will kick 20 million Americans off of their insurance without Speaker Johnson's reassurance that they will vote on health care in December? Remember that a December vote is a part of the bill in the Senate, but Speaker Johnson has already said he's not sure if they can do that vote in the House. You know, can't predict the future. It's not like he's in charge over there. The other thing I'll be looking for is, will the Democrats stand united against this spending bill? Will it be a no across the board? House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries says that he will offer an amendment to the spending bill that includes a 3-year extension of the ACA subsidies. Once he offers that amendment, they will have to decide if it can be added or not. Okay, sure. Toss in some unicorns and leprechauns while we're at it. It's all got as good of a chance as ending up in the bill. So, why not? I don't know, get caught trying, I guess. It's not gonna work, but it's more than the Senate Democrats did. The Senate Democrats were like, we have all the cards. Take them. Here, the best he can do is, I noticed that you want to screw 20 million Americans out of healthcare. Have you considered not? It's not an amazing position to be in, but he's gonna try. Why not try? We will see how today shapes up. And while the House scrambles back into action, Trump was at Arlington National Cemetery on Tuesday to give a speech to veterans where he announced that being politically correct no longer served him. Quote, so we're not going to be politically correct anymore. End quote. I can't stress this enough. He was at Arlington National Cemetery, hallowed ground, giving a speech to veterans on Veterans Day. And he was like, I'll tell you something. I don't like this politically correct thing. I'm not going to do it anymore. He also said, quote, from now on, when we fight a war, we only fight for one reason, to win, end quote. What was the other reason? What were the other reasons? The other thing is that he says he wants to change Veterans Day to Victory in World War I Day, and then May 8th will be Victory in World War II Day. And then I guess all the other veterans can suck it? First of all, May 8th is my mom's birthday, so I've already got a lot on my plate that day. Moreover, this is a country that already disrespects veterans at every turn by taking away programs that they are promised when they sign on the dotted line. Programs that they deserve. And now we're going to take away a day that is meant for them. Veterans Day honors all veterans. including veterans from World War I and World War II. We can also, on November 11th and May 8th, give them an additional shout out, but we shouldn't take away Veterans Day. Quote, "We won both wars. Nobody was close to us in terms of strength, bravery, or military brilliance, but we never celebrate anything." So, in addition to all the other veterans can suck it, we're only going to celebrate World War I and World War II veterans. Also, our allies that helped us in these wars, you can also suck it. Though, to be fair, we have not been complimentary of our allies really since Trump's been in office either term. What do you think Veterans Day is for, my guy? You are there, well, sorry, in theory, the idea is you are supposed to be there celebrating our troops. That's Veterans Day. Celebrating the strength, bravery, and military brilliance of our troops. It is a day of celebration for them. You paid to get out of serving this country. That is a proven fact. The President of the United States paid to get out of serving in Vietnam. He calls soldiers who died fighting for this country suckers and losers. He questions why someone would even sign up for the military in the first place, asking, quote, "What's in it for them?" He doesn't want wounded warriors in the first rows of his events because, quote, "Nobody wants to see that." You don't honor or celebrate veterans, so of course, you want to rename Veterans Day. But guess what, you doofus? You don't get to decide that stuff. So this means nothing, as soon enough you will as well. What are you gonna do? You're gonna sign a proclamation with your weird signature that definitely has way more letters than your name does, just like you did with the Department of War? Okie doke, that's presidential fan fiction because only Congress can officially change the name of a federal holiday. And I realize that you are really into this constitutional crisis situation. But it's a little hat on a hat to do another constitutional crisis over renaming Veterans Day. So why don't you leave this one alone? All veterans deserve to be celebrated. Oh, we never celebrate anything. No, hon, that was you when you brought home a B+ and your dad had too many meetings to take you out for ice cream. And frankly, I do understand why he never wanted to hang out with you. I do get it. I don't really have a button for this story. I just want you to know that he's the worst. Speaking of the worst, as the House prepares to vote today to reopen the government, which we all assume will happen, but as I mentioned, there's not a ton of wiggle room. So it's like, yeah, there's a high probability, but anything can happen. The Supreme Court has extended an order blocking full SNAP payments for a few more days. Now, the original block was put in place by Justice Jackson, and while it may have seemed shocking when she did it, it was actually a very smart move, as most things are that come from her. The original hold was put in place to prevent the entire court from having a say on SNAP funding and doing more damage that they probably would have done. They probably would have done way more damage. Here, however, she was the only justice to say that she would have revived the lower court orders to keep the payments going immediately. And I just want to remind all of us that none of these cases at the lower court level or at the Supreme Court, none of these cases should even exist. The money is there. The money for SNAP is set aside for this exact case to make sure that, should the government shut down, folks could still receive their benefits for at least some period of time. The only reason any of this is happening is because Donald Trump and his little buddies and followers they just don't want people to have these benefits. That's it. That is literally the only reason. Imagine being that cruel. By choice. They choose to be this cruel. Imagine. Whew. Over the weekend, apparently Trump was visited by 3 ghosts. No. That would be cool, though. That would be something amazing. He was visited by a man named Bill Pulte, the Federal Housing Finance Agency director, who pitched Trump an idea. You've heard about 30-year mortgages, right? Okay. Now what about 50-year mortgages? The 30-year mortgage was born out of the Great Depression as a way for Americans to get a lower mortgage payment and then be able to buy a home. So the idea here is that over 50 years, instead of 30 years, payments for mortgages would be even lower. On the surface, that sounds great, but here's the thing. Now, you're going to be stuck making payments for 50 years. But when you buy a house, you're not just like, cool house. I want the price, the sticker price, forever. You have to pay interest. So interest rates here will go through the roof. Now, I did not do the math on this because I live in Los Angeles, and this show is worth $10 million a year, or I walk. So I'm only planning on buying a $10 million home in Los Angeles. That's it. $10 million, or I rent forever. But according to CNN, take a $450,000 home with a 30-year fixed mortgage at a 6.25 interest rate. A $450,000 house would have a monthly payment of about $2,771. In all, the homeowner would pay over $547,000 in interest on that house. So now that $450,000 house comes to a casual $997,000. That is with a 30-year mortgage. With a 50-year loan on that same house with the same rate, the monthly payment would be $2,452. That's nice, that's better, Not nice is that the total interest would jump to about $1.02 million. 87% more than it would have been on a 30-year loan. So now, with a 50-year mortgage, you're spending $1,476,576 to buy a $450,000 house. And all of that to save like $300 a month for your mortgage. To save $300 a month for your mortgage, but to have that mortgage for 20 extra years. Interestingly, Trump's take on all of this is, quote, all it means is you pay less per month. You pay it over a longer period of time. It's not like a big factor, end quote. It's actually $1 million factor. That's, you were in real estate. That's how you started. Your whole thing got started because you wanted to be an actor and no one would let you be in school plays, so your dad gave you a bunch of money to start a real estate career, the beginnings of which were you refusing to rent to black tenants. And then you tried again to be an actor and no one cared. So then you stayed in real estate and then you became president. At the very least, you should understand real estate. That man brain no good. Here's what I can tell you about this 50-year mortgage thing is that Republicans also don't like it. And now they're saying that, fear not, it wasn't really thought out very well. Duh. So we'll see. Don't get one of them. And in Venezuela, on Tuesday, in response to the buildup of troops and warships from the United States in the Caribbean Sea, Venezuela announced that they are launching a, quote, massive mobilization of military personnel, weapons, and equipment with land, air, naval, and reserve forces carrying out exercises through Wednesday. Great! You weren't trying to sleep through the night anyway, right? To be honest, what do you want them to do? Last month, Trump authorized the CIA to operate in the country. He previously said that he was weighing the possibility of striking within the country. He says he's not thinking about it anymore, but he has thought about it in the past. He's hitting boats in the Caribbean that he claims are trafficking drugs, and he's hitting these boats left and right, killing at least 76 people and offering zero evidence that they are in fact drug traffickers. Meanwhile, here in America, Trump has increased Venezuelan deportations. He has canceled their temporary protected status and pretty much decided that any man from Venezuela is a gang member and has either had them deported to a third country that they're not from, or in the case of approximately 252 Venezuelans, sent them to a self-proclaimed torture prison in El Salvador, where they are still at, where they have been for 4 months, all without ever being accused of actual crimes. The crime is that they are from Venezuela. Regardless of whether they are here legally or not, that is what he has decided is the crime. So I'm really sorry, but it makes sense to me that they are going to show off a little bit. I'm not saying we want them to do more, not at all. I actually want us and them to back off, to take a little breather. We could all go back to our corners. But in the meantime, we wouldn't just sit around not showing off our military. So we can't expect that another country wouldn't do it within their own borders. Just a little perspective. That's all we gotta have here. And that's it. That's news. I'm proud of happy hours. I like that restaurants and bars are just like, these are the specific times that I want people to be happy, but I'm gonna make the rules super weird. Like, you can only have these really good prices if you sit in this tiny corner, or if you happen to walk in the door before 3:07 p.m. on Mondays and the fourth Thursday of every other month. I also like that at this one bar that my friends and I go to, there is one single bartender that will let us place a bunch of beer orders. Sorry, Mom, I meant one beer order, one singular beer that we all split. And then we can get that order in right under the wire. But more than happy hour, because there is no hour that could ever possibly be invented that I wouldn't be happier just by thinking about you. I'm proud of you.